Man, where am I going to start with this video? As you can see through my screens, yes, HSR developer finally drip marketed to their next new character, which is a Robin SP and also the Aventurine SP. From this image, which is the Robin, it comes from the Remembrance, and also her element is the water. And when it comes to the Aventurine, as we already thought the Aventurine as an imaginary character, but in this new SP version, this guy comes from the elation path and also comes from the element as a quantum. Their design is not even kind of like a unique from their previous version, as they are the SP version from the previous one, which is kind of like a new character. Since we already saw Blade SP and also the Himeko Nova, their design is totally changed from the previous one, and also their element change. Yes, this Robin and also Aventurine element also changed from their previous version, but one thing is for sure, I guess they are defaulting their skin which as a summer skin. As you can see that Robin is wearing a bikini and also other summer swimsuit. Aventurine is also wearing some of those like a Hawaii beach of a vacation suit. There is nothing to complain. They are totally giving us a free default skin. It is not actually free default skin. You have to pull that character. If you are being unlucky, it could cost like a 160 pulls, but that's not the main thing. The main thing is that it is actually creating a very much of hype between the community, since Robin was also a kind of like a hype character in a HSR community for a long time. The reason is why, because since when the data miner was leaking towards the Fate second part, they also leaked that Robin SP are also going to be in the next list. Aventurine SP name was also there into the data miner list, so people were assuming that what kind of things that Robin and also Aventurine are going to provide, since they do not even have any kind of like a value towards the current meta. You already know that when the base Robin version came off like 2.5 years ago, this Robin was totally cracking the each and every meta. Especially if you do have a E1 Robin, in that time you are going to get a 24% respawn all over the teammate whenever you are going to deploy the ultimate, since she was always in her ultimate, and when she was actually on her ultimate, she will not even get targeted by any of those like enemies. She will be vulnerable most of the time. Even to this day, being so many free support characters and also free so many hyacinth types of most powerful sustain characters, these guys is still top tier. I'm not talking about this SP version, I'm talking about the base version, which is comes from the preservation path and also comes from the imaginary elemental path. So this guy is still going to be give you a good amount of shields if you are not even able to get the, what's the name again, yes, Imbibitu Luna Danhang or Preservation Danhang. But Danhang was already given to us free. Most of the player already have this Danhang on their account. And Aventurine, you can only get him Aventurine by the selector, which they already provided like a few patches ago. But if you already miss that patch, I guess you have to pull for him when he is actually going to rerun his banner. But since he doesn't even have that much of value into this current meta, I guess it will be unlikely to be, it is unlikely that he going to get another rerun banner in near future. Anyway, the main thing is that I'm very much excited. As you can see that the design is very simple, it is what it is. Another important thing is that I already get some of those like a gameplay leaks from those two characters. Let's talk about the Robin's gameplay leak. So as you can see that Robin's SP is kind of comes from the Remembrance path. You already know that when we actually get to know Remembrance as from the simulated universe, we thought that the amount of ice and also the amount of freeze that we are going to apply to a certain enemies, when enemies have a good amount of stack from the freeze, if we just touch that enemy, the enemy will go to into a brittle and also deals a huge amount of damage. But when the practical use cases comes from, and also when they are editing this Remembrance to into a form of a characters, they totally change the shift towards the tone what they actually introduce us into the simulated universe. Into the character version, they already introduced to us Remembrance as a summoning meta. Yes, if I just give you an example, there are so many characters they already released previous year, which is a Casturi, she just totally deploys a dragon. Hyacinth, she just totally deploy a kind of like a small horse ponytails. And other characters such as the March 7, she also deploys the March 7, not actually talking about the March 7, it's a March Evernight, which also deploys some of like a jellyfish, which also deals a good amount of chunk of damage. And Robin SP is not even the kind of like a new thing, she's also following the same things what the Remembrance was used to be, which is, as for the gameplay leaks, she deploy 3 types of minions or summoners or creatures, such as like Furina from the Genshin Impact. If you already played this Genshin Impact from even to this day, I guess you already know Furina's name, how her kit actually work. When she is actually deploy her skills, she deploys some of those like 3 types of water minion, and those 3 types of water minion are going to deal damage, apply a hydro application, and also give whole team members a good amount of attack and also other buff as well as. So Robin SP is also going to do the same things, deploy 3 types of summon creatures, and all those 3 types of summon creatures, when they are going to give buffs and also also deals damage, it may consume a certain amount of SP. Yes, this is another thing that you have to make certain raise concern. Why am I saying this? Because the inner remembrance path, there is not many some characters who actually consume SPs. If I give you an example, Castoris, who does not even consume SP but deals huge amount of damage. March Evernight also does not even consume SP but also deals huge amount of damage. But if you do have her Constellation E2, she will be the best, one of the top tier character into this game. Even she can also give you a good amount of rivalry between other new top tier characters such as Silver level 1988. Anyway, when she actually uses her buff and also other things, she can give you a buff. But another character in Remembrance who also use the SP to give you a good amount of like a buff and also shield, which is not the Hyacinth. As a support character, she also helps you to make a good amount of like a healing for towards your Castoris, since she is actually a unique character who doesn't even follow the standard rule of a energy based ultimate types of characters. Okay, another character who also uses the SP, which is none other than the Sirene. She is actually currently ongoing into the current banner, and other character we don't even have that much of remembrance character. I guess after the release of Elation, we thought that HSR developer are not going to release the Remembrance, because the last Remembrance character they already released, which is the Sirene, and it was around like 6 or 7 months ago, around like 7 or 8 months ago. After that, we thought that HSR developer are going to be full blown toward the Elation, but right now they are already bringing back another new character, which her base version was considered as a top tier character. Even to this day, she is still top tier, but she is not even a top tier where she was belong when she was initially released. I'm talking about the old version or the new versions. It is also going to be very much of a challenging to see that where she is actually going to belong, since Castoris is the only Remembrance team. They did not even release any of those like other DPS character for the Remembrance class who can even have a second team options. Since in Elation character we can even have a two types of Elation teams, such as the Aventurine and also the Silver level 99, since the both two characters record the same characters. But in upcoming versions, such as you can see that Aventurine SP are going to be helpful what your Aventurine really need if you really want to use the two Elation teams in a single stages. Okay, I hope that Robin could use some of those like use cases in other teams, since she is also from the Remembrance class. Beside Castoris teams is actually already been perfectly created, especially all the characters which is the Sirene, Hyacinth and also Castoris, March Evernight. These whole characters are totally perform well together, so there is nothing need much of an alternate into their option. But if you just somehow lack one of those options, I guess this Robin could be actually helpful in that part. Anyway, that's all for this like a Robin gameplay part, which I totally drag a little bit more. But let's move on to our Aventurine things, which I already found from the leaks. From the leaks of the Aventurine, we didn't even get any much of a clear information that what kind of roles these guys going to play. But one thing is for sure, as from the Elation characters, these guys actually going to help you to generate the punchline point. So we already thought that Pearl is also going to be the next character who can also give you a good amount of sustain for the Elation, which is the missing puzzle for the Elation character to make a full 5-stack team just like the Castoris teams. But as you can see that Aventurine role has not even published and has not even leaked yet by the leakers or data miners. But the thing that he actually provided, which is a punchline great for the any other Elation character, especially very much needed for our Silverwood to make her ultimate generation much faster. And another important fact is that when he is actually deploying his ultimate, he also goes through some of those like a gacha or gambling types of thing, just like his base old version of a PZ version. When he is actually using his skill before the battle, if you do have a jackpot, your whole team member are going to get good amount of HP or good amount of shield when the battle starts. So since the Aventurine is also have this kind of like gacha gambling mechanism, since he's also from this kind of like a gimmicks, I guess when he's actually hitting the jackpot by using his ultimate, he will be advancing the AHA totally instant, just like the Yao Guang, which is also currently going on. Not actually currently going on, the banner is already ended. So if you're just somehow missing the Yao Guang, I guess these guys are actually going to be helpful for your Silver team to make the AHA instant as an advancing instant. This guy is not going to be very much of a consistent what the Yao Guang could even have be, especially if you do have a Yao Guang's LC, which can give you a good amount of energy requirement and also make her ultimate always uptime, which is also going to be give you a guaranteed instant point always every time. But when it comes to the Aventurine, since his whole over gimmicks is going for the gacha and also gambling things, so his ultimate are going to be also a gambling things, where if he hits the jackpot, he will be advancing the high instant just like the Yogong, but it would be like a one times in those like a 10 retries. So it is what it is. We have not even have any of this like a clear information that how much of a percentage of hitting those jackpot in his kit. So I guess that's all for this like a 2 characters of a reaction and also gameplay leak. I guess I can give you a good chunk of information from those 2 characters which they already remarketed today. But another important thing is that since the next character which is the Himeko Nova and these 2 characters are going to be after the Himeko Nova's patch, people are actually very much highly stacked, especially getting the Fate characters with Rin and also Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh are going to be free, and also getting the Himeko Nova, which is most awaited and also most fan favorite character for the HSR community. Getting these 2 characters at the same time for the next patches. So man, since the Pearl has not even announced yet that when they are going to release the Pearl, we have to pull the Aventurine to fill up the slot for the Silver of 1199 if you do have the Sparksy and also the Yaoguang for your Silver Wolf teams. I guess that's all for it. If you like it, leave a like. If you do have any kind of like opinion for this regarding these 2 characters, you can totally leave into the comment section, and also let me know your reaction into the comment section as well as. So see you in the next video. Peace.